So at this point, what I'd like to do is introduce you Abby Martin of Media Roots, because Abby isn't just the newest member of our board at Media Freedom. Abby finished a poli-sci degree at San Diego State, actually poli-sci in Spanish, and she founded her own media outlet called Media Roots at MediaRoots.org. Again, she's the newest member with us at Project Censored and Media Freedom Foundation. Abby worked with us on the Junk Food News chapter and wants to talk with you a little bit about some of her reporting and research, and also what she does at Media Roots, how it overlaps with us, and what you can do to get involved in being part of media solutions after you understand some of the problems as they exist in the real world. What's up?
Abby. I graduated from San Diego State in 2006, and I guess my first time that I encountered just the media completely lying to me realizing it was when the Iraq War was initiating, and I just thought, why are we talking about Iraq right now? You know, we're in Afghanistan, we're engaged in this full war against Osama bin Laden and terrorists, and all of a sudden the media just shifted. And I remember calling my mom, and I was just like, what the hell is going on? I mean, did I miss something? Did Iraq attack us? Like, what's happening? And so that's when I saw firsthand the media compliance and just unquestioning, really. And that really bothered me. And through my investigation, I was an anti-war activist. My ex-boyfriend in high school joined the military after 9/11, and that really got me to start caring. But when I saw the media start just totally being compliant and just following lockstep government policy, I started really realizing that the issue wasn't the political apparatus only. It was the media too. And then when you start digging into who owns the media, you see the board members that are invested directly in politics. So I just became really passionate about media. I said, you know, the real issue here is the message. No matter what you're involved in, if you can't get your message out about what you care about, then what's the point? You know, people aren't hearing it. So that's where media censorship really became a passion of mine. And when you hear things about censorship, it's really hard to grasp this concept, because you can go to the grocery store and you see a million different products and you're like, oh, I have so many different things to choose from. Or like on your TV, you have 700 channels. So it's hard to understand the mediums that this information is being filtered through. It's a very select group of corporations who have very specific interests. And like Nikki just talked about, when the Fukushima disaster was unraveling, we were just saturated with Charlie Sheen. I mean, and you have to ask yourself, why aren't we hearing about the biggest nuclear disaster next to Chernobyl in the history of human civilization? That's still ongoing, by the way. And you look at who owns NBC, and it's General Electric, who also owns the reactors in Fukushima. And they also own 23 sister reactors in the US. So it's kind of in their interest to not get the story out about the meltdown. And why we're not talking about the dangers of nuclear energy and how catastrophic this is for humanity. So really, it seems almost conspiratorial. Like I tell a lot of people these issues, and they're just like, well, I would have heard about that from the news, but I mean, they are watching corporate media, and it's not just Fox. Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks joined MSNBC, and they took him aside. He was a little bit critical of Obama, not very critical, and they took him in the back room and they just said, look, Cenk, you're working for the establishment, so you can't go up there and buck it. And he was just like, well, fuck you guys, I'm out, you know? He didn't want to sell out, but that's another level of censorship where it's not overtly talking points going to these heads of corporations saying you can't talk about this, like Fox News that we saw in the Monsanto case. It's different levels where people are saying you shouldn't buck the establishment because you are part of the establishment. You're MSNBC. And so where I go with Media Roots, the organization that I started, is really realizing that we need to make the corporate media irrelevant. You know, they're so broad and they control so much, and so we really have to start turning to new mediums of information, because they're not going to tell us the truth no matter how much we march in the streets and demand them to start telling us what's going on. We need to start taking it upon ourselves, and I know that this is the internet culture. Obviously, we're already doing that online. I'm sure a lot of you get your news from a lot of different sites, and it's important to see different views and take, you know, little bits and pieces from each one and kind of discern what your own perspective is. But I started MediaRoots.org. It's a citizen journalism project. I started it first of all as a giant news aggregate because I was sick of these horribly aesthetic websites that were just really bad looking that aggregated news. So I want to make something pretty. I'm an artist. So I made MediaRoots.org, and it just started off as a giant archival base where I was advocating from a bunch of different sources, from world news to science and philosophy to art and music, political corruption and corporate corruption. And I just wanted to kind of have a base for my own research to build upon. And then it got to where soldiers got involved in writing through anonymity from Afghanistan and Iraq and other sites around the world. And it started just citizen journalists from all over the world just started pulling information, saying these stories, and just going out and reporting. Because it's really up to us. We are the media revolution. We need to take it upon ourselves to really do the reporting and do the truth-telling and the fact-finding. Because we sure as hell can't count on the corporate press to do it. I've always respected Project Censored. When I was doing my work down in San Diego, I knew about Project Censored. I knew Peter, the former director, and I interviewed him, and I was just blown away. Just like, you guys are doing exactly what I think should be done. You guys are the only organization, shockingly enough, media organizations that are even independent censored. Media Matters is a good example of someone who just focuses on right-wing rhetoric, and they just feature, this is what Rush Limbaugh did today, and you're like, okay, well, they don't touch upon a lot of other issues that I feel like really is important. And so Project Censored, incredible organization, the largest research organization in the country, been doing, they uncover the top 25 censored stories. They're going to do so much more than that. Right now, Mickey, Peter, and I are doing a weekly show at KPFA, constantly doing research, constantly doing talks, trying to get the information out there. So, yeah, I'm just really excited to be a part of the organization. Check out MediaRoots.org, you guys. We just need to band together. We need to be citizen journalists. We need to start doing it ourselves, because yeah, it's up to us really to take this country back.
So if somebody wants to be involved, and MediaRoots would somehow post information, they would know.
Right now we're just featuring local musicians, artists, activists, and journalists really who have anything to say, doing anything conscious or constructive to society. We're really collaborative, and that's the whole purpose of it, is we're just a huge collaborative base that's always just accepting help and ideas and information. And Project Censored and I are working closely together to try to build that collaborative base together. And it's just a really exciting time. There's a renaissance of citizen journalism going on worldwide, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. And I think the first step is just making corporate media relevant and just turning to alternative mediums. And that's what we're doing. Thanks.